Hello everyone. Very good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of you. This is your Vaibhav. In today's session of Daily Stock, we are going to look at the prospects of a very interesting company, Xiaomi. There has been interesting development for this company ahead of its quarterly results, which are going to be announced. Successful operations in the smartphone segment, we can feel confident about its ability to venture into this new electric vehicle space and demonstrate its commitment to establishing the smartphone segment has been challenging for many of the established players, but even in this challenging environment, the Xiaomi is expected to perform really better. And of course, it is a leading player, the number two smartphone company in terms of sales, not revenues, but number of smartphones shipped. It ranks second worldwide, and that is the case because it also sells many of the lower priced smartphones, and as a result of that, it is a leading smartphone manufacturer across the world. Now, let us look at the company's quarterly announcement for the second quarter of 2022. The softness in company sales has been a phenomena which we have observed for past couple of quarters, and since picking in the 2021st, we have seen slide in the company's quarterly earnings, and this time around as well, we are expecting the company's revenues to remain below this peak of June 30th, 2021. That is the second quarter of 2021. That number is not likely to be breached. We are likely to see the company perform in the ballpark of the numbers which we got for the first quarter of 2023, and there the company had provided the outlook where it is that given the uncertainty and sluggishness in the smartphone segment across the world, the company has found it challenging to grow its revenues. Rather, it has focused on consolidating its existing operations and maintaining the market share. Also, it had clearly stated its intention to venture into the electrical vehicle space, and now we have got the news that its plans are likely to fructify with it getting the state planners nod, the Chinese state planners nod to start new development and see business the company is able to establish, and given its vast vast smartphone challenging to raise the total revenues because the revenues have been shrinking for many quarters now, and given the sluggishness slump, you can say, in the total sales of the smartphones worldwide, it would be quite impossible for the company to grow its revenues with given its high base. And as we have already seen, the company's quarterly numbers have been on downward spiral with its revenues shrinking quarter on quarter as well as year on year for multiple quarters. Even the first quarter of 2022 was no exception, where we saw that its revenues have declined sequentially as well as annually. If we now go to its quarterly earnings, we will get to see the picture for the company. So this is the revenue of the first quarter, that is quarter ended March 21st, 2023, with this slide in the total revenues. The cost of sales were also lower, so the gross profit, the company was able to maintain its gross profit quite close to the number it had generated in the first quarter of 2022. So the company was able to better its operating margin. So that was a silver lining in otherwise dark clouds. These figures are in Chinese yuan, renminbi, and you will have to apply the conversion factor. You can check the USD to CNI conversion. Now, if we look at the revenues had decreased 18.9% in the first quarter, and for the second quarter of 2023, we are expecting the revenues to increase slightly in the sequential manner, but in terms of year on year, the revenues are going to be in declining phase, because these second quarter revenues of 2022 are going to be quite hard to match, and here we are expecting the revenues upward of 60,000 million RMB, but it will still be quite negative given the company's earlier numbers where it used bringing quite large revenues. The revenue slowdown is real, and that has also affected the company's share price. Its shares have declined and almost halved if we compare the share price to what it was 2 years back, and that is because the revenue slowdown in the smartphone segment, and that is also one of the key reasons why the company has decided to expand its business operations and venture into totally new field of the electric vehicles. Now let us go to the technical side of the story and see what is happening in the company's share price. The Xiaomi is listed on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange. So we get its num shares under this head. The pricing is in Hong Kong dollars. Today, there has been positive development for the company with it getting the Chinese state planners nod for the start of the EV venture, and that has pushed the share price higher by almost 3 percentage point in today's session. So we did see substantial price rise, and it will be interesting to see how the company performs in next couple of days, because if it is able to sustain and hold near 11 price level, then indeed we can think about the possibility of reversal in this downward spiral and expect the company's share price to climb past the immediate swing high of 12.70. And for that, the company's quarterly announcement of its results is going to be an important deciding factor. We are going to get its quarterly earnings on 29th of August, and that is going to be a key development to watch out for. So for next couple of days, see how the share price reacts, and if we have this stabilization unfolding around this price level, and if the Xiaomi holds this Hong Kong dollar 11 level, then we will have clear reasons for the possibility of turnaround and this continuous formation of lower lows and lower highs can be broken if we get the share price of the Xiaomi to climb past the immediate swing high, this prior swing high. It had climbed quite close to that in the last week of July, but after that it had again started to decline, and last couple of days it has been slowly and steadily moving lower with this sharp jump being seen in today's session in aftermath of its successfully successful permission from the Chinese authorities of its entry into the EV space. So this is a positive development for the company, and in light of the revenue slowdown which we have seen in the smartphone segment, we can expect this revenue stream, but it is going to take time for the revenues to start coming in from the new operations, and instead of that, in the initial years the company will be spending heavily on R&D and establishing a successful venture, but eventually this bet can indeed pay off handsomely if the company is able to demonstrate the competence and launch products which found favors with the consumers. Now, in the heydays of its so watch out for the price level around 11, and then you shares of the Xiaomi starting to move higher and eventually breach this immediate swing high established at 12.7. So our price, the key price level to watch out for next couple of days leading up to the quarterly earnings announcement is 11 on the lower side. So that is my take on the company's prospects, looking at its given trajectory and the earnings expectations. We are not really expecting much growth, but even in this challenging environment, the company is likely to post growth in sequential terms, but the revenue is going to be lower in year-on-year terms. So this is going to be a mixed quarter. This is likely to be a mixed quarter for the companies, and then a lot will also rest on the kind of forward guidance it provides along with this announcement of the quarterly earnings. So pay attention to that, and accordingly you can plan your trades. So that's all from my side for today's session. See you next time around with a equally interesting stock to work with. Do come back. Thank you all for joining in. Goodbye.